Uncensored Radio, Real Talk Roundtable. Real life, real laughs, real talk.
Are we feeling peppy? Oh,
Sure.
it always makes me groove a little bit.
It's a little hot to be
The
peppy up
opening
here.
theme. Everything's, you see our lives like so, and then Uncensored Horror, so like, and that was like, bap, jibbida bap bap, it's kind of wow. It's like we're doing some freestyle jazz.
Mid-century modern kind of
we're-
vibe.
We're scatting all over the place. I watched that show the other night. I hadn't watched it yet. Funny
Yeah.
show.
Okay.
Very much Will and Grace and like the male version of Golden Girls, but we live. We live.
I haven't seen it.
I hope they
just
do a second
clips that
season.
pop up on TikTok.
They dropped the C-bomb, so of course I appreciate it. All right, I love it. Hi everyone, welcome to Uncensored Radio's Real Talk Roundtable. We're here today with the lovely Vera, as ever, and Uncensored Horror's Katie McCarthy has joined us today because we're going to talk the horror of family, I guess, family situations, and we like to kind of get a little deep, a little meaningful, a little how you going on the round table, and hope that our opinions / stories help people. So the stories today have been plucked from the headlines of celebrity, and we're going to try and put our 2 cents in. So if you have your 2 cents, feel free to add it. We'll have like $1.50, hopefully, by the end of it all. We ought to buy a soda.
Yeah, we can buy a soda to share.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice. So
One
the
soda to
first... I know, just one. 3 straws, please. The first story we're going to talk today is not a news story, but it's come back up in the news cycle, as does. We all know Goopy Gwyneth and Chris Martin of Coldplay fame for their conscious uncoupling, quote unquote.
What does that even mean?
But Gwyneth Paltrow has shared or reshared the moment she realized that her marriage was over. And I think a lot of times we think of these moments as huge, grand moments, but sometimes it's the small things. And this was originally printed back in 2020, but it's doing the rounds again. She was talking to British Vogue about the exact moment that she knew things had definitely changed. Brenda says, "It was my birthday, my 38th. My ex-husband and I were tucked away in the Tuscan countryside, as you are, on a hill in a beautiful cottage with a view of the forest."
Were they
Fall was
married at
coming.
that time?
Yes.
Yes, they were
He
married. Yeah.
wasn't her ex at that time. Okay.
No. Yep. Fall was coming. The leaves were loosening their grip on bright green. Inside, the cottage was perfectly appointed in the way you dream of for a birthday trip. Cozy living room with a fireplace, kitchen table overflowed with spoils from the farm nearby, peaches, tomatoes on the vine, basil, eggs. Now, she says it was this holiday that signified the end of everything. Greta says, "I don't recall when it happened exactly. I don't remember which day of the weekend or what time of day it was, but I knew, despite long walks and longer lie-ins, big glasses of Barolo in hands held, that my marriage was over." She said it felt almost involuntary and described it as being like the ring of a bell that had sounded that cannot be undone. She explained how she tried to quell knowing it and it being in her bones to be true. So I think, as I said, we've all seen relationships, and not even just marriages, relationships, friendships, that kind of thing, that are past their sell-by date. I was definitely in one. So there are those moments where you know, and you tend to ignore these things, because at this time for Gwyneth, obviously, they were married, they had children, they were doing the Hollywood it couple thing. Katie's got a very significant other there with her at the moment.
I'm so trying.
How can you tell when your dog has attachment issues? Hi,
Everyone
Mama.
say hi to Ripples.
But
And my bluey pajamas, but anyways.
I thought it was a very interesting article to read, and a good thing to bring up again about how to be honest with yourself when something isn't working.
I can't talk with all of this.
Do you want to kick us off? What do you think about this?
I remember very distinctly in several different relations having that moment where you're just like, oh, this isn't going to work.
Right.
You know?
And it's not always the
it's not
earth-shattering moment.
necessarily, I mean, yes, there was cheating in one of them, but not necessarily that kind of cataclysmic event, just kind of like okay, you've just shown me something I didn't know.
It doesn't always happen in, oh, hey, I've popped me up. I'm meant to be. It doesn't always happen in the big flashbang, fireworks, and drama moment.
Right.
It can be just the quickest thing, the smallest moment. I found for me, and looking back, it was a surprise change just in my emotional reaction to that person that really kind of signified it. Partners can annoy you, and we all know, we've all been through that. You're like, oh my god, you're so annoying, why can't you pick up the washing, why can't you do what you say you're going to do? But I remember actively going, I hate this, I hate you.
I don't remember mine being quite that dramatic as I hate you. It was more of like a
relationships fun.
We've discussed this. Why are you changing the plan? There was a plan in place. Why aren't you remembering what we talked about? Were you listening to me?
Yeah. I feel like it's really hard. Like, it was just, for me, I just remember having that. It's like somebody flicked a switch and I just went, no, that's not okay. We have these little you have a give and take in a relationship. But when you're giving, and it's like reaching the end of a measuring tape. You're like, you can't pull any more out of me. There's nothing more. I will snap and I will kill you. This is where I was at. And it doesn't have to be strictly a love relationship. There's been plenty of friendships that I've kind of felt that way too. Like, you kind of give a lot, you put a lot into it, and there's not a lot of reciprocation. What about you, Ms. McCarthy? You're giving me a nod here and there.
I relate a lot with the friendship vibe. I feel like I was in a very kind of deeply bonded relationship with some friends that really kind of solidified over lockdown, because what else could you do except talk to each other online or over the phone? And I started to feel like I wasn't heard, like my opinion didn't matter. And you only get squashed down so much where you're like, I'm really sick of doing this. Like, I'm sick of throwing my opinion out there, trying to talk about something and being told, no, we decided this. So did I handle the breakup as well? Probably not. I probably didn't handle it in a very mature manner. I admit that fully. Do I regret the breakup itself? Not really. I regret in the manner in that I ended things, but I do not regret the breakup itself.
Of course. And full transparency for everyone here and everyone that is part of our panel and has been part of our panel, this happens with us.
Oh yeah. We fight a lot.
This happens with us all the time. Like, we have these little moments because we are so passionate about the things that we talk about. And it's not always, politics or celebrities. It can be the smallest things that you just trigger somebody one day and it's like, oh my god, okay. And it brings up
it's a group of people with a lack of boundaries for each other that cares very deeply for each other.
Right.
We're bound to fight.
We are a very big dysfunctional family. I think at the end of the day, we try and remember that.
A very strange intimacy because none of us are in the same place.
Well, you and I are closer, but still.
But I
But
think
it's
the
also
worst
a-
breakup of my life was a friend breakup.
Yeah,
right, yeah.
I,
You
I
know,
think so too.
I
breakups are
still
worse.
ache over it. You know,
Yeah, there are definitely people that you, and it comes on at weird times too. You'll just be doing your day to day, or thinking,
Mhm.
that person.
Yeah,
I miss that person.
there are
I
some
wonder
things
what
that
that
come up.
person's doing.
There are some things that come up in my life where, like, oh, I really want to tell this person, but then it's like, oh, we haven't spoken in over a year, over 10 years, something like that.
Yeah,
I
right.
can't just
And for
randomly
me-
message this person.
for me, it's not so much that kind of nostalgic, warm reminiscence. It's like, holy fuck, he really broke my heart. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And it depends on what end of we all have our own narrative, and we are
Mhm.
yeah, we are staunch, and I think time does allow you a little bit of,
Maybe.
I'm not going to say healing, because some people, when they do you wrong, they do you wrong.
Well,
You
for
can
those,
see a little bit of objectivity, perhaps? Question
yeah,
mark?
for those romantic breakups where time heals those for sure. It's
Mhm.
like that relationship didn't really stand a chance. But with this other relationship, we'd been together since we were in our 20s.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah. Well,
we lived together for a short time. I thought this was my family as well. I thought of this person as my family, and to
Right.
have them, not stick by me like I expected, crushed
Well-
me. But it angered me so badly that I can't look back without that anger.
Without
Well, you know what's funny is when in my 20s, my early 20s, I lived with my very best friend for a few years. After we moved out, it wasn't like even something that specifically happened. We just kind of drifted off once we moved away from each other. And the funny thing is, we
Right.
found our way back to each other. So time does kind of heal things, or kind of like make you realize what's more important, or just kind of make you forget the petty shit. Because we found our way back to each other, and now we're raising our kids together, and it's like it's like we missed nothing. Like there's just no time that was missed, and everything feels good.
It also is sometimes that thing where the right people are coming to your life at the right time, and they may not always be the right
Right.
people all the time, but they
Mhm.
will come and go from
Feel that way about you,
making it
Stevie?
work. No, look, when I'm back in the country, it'll be all good. It'll be all
That adage, the reason,
we
the
shall
season,
embrace.
the lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. But I use this group of people as a really big example of, don't close your mind to things just because of sometimes huge differences, and sometimes like geographic location and stuff like this. I talk to you guys more than I talk to my friends that I've known for years. And everyone's like, what do you mean you're going overseas to stay with people that you don't know? I'm like, well, I do know them.
No, I know them.
I know them.
I know them just fine.
I know
It's
them. We know them
fine.
plenty.
It's fine.
We
I
haven't
think
killed
that-
you yet.
Yeah, look, no.
Still time.
Look, there is still time. We can dream. We can dream. I think that's it could also be the quantity of time that you spend with people that can force that shift as well. Because if that pressure cooker of proximity is something that you live with every day, little things do start to wear and tear at you, and you're like, oh, that's annoying. Oh, that's more annoying. That's really annoying. But the ability and courage, I think, is the main word. To verbalize it is the best thing, because if we're looking at a marriage relationship kind of thing, I know that honesty is difficult, and it can be painful, and it can bring up awkward, yucky feelings. But at the end of the day, you don't want to look back at what years of your life going, I was really, really unhappy for a really, really long time. And I could have fixed it not only for myself, but for my partner and for my children and for my family by just doing the hard thing. And sometimes I think we have to remember to be brave for ourselves more than anything else, because even though it is a scary situation to go, oh, I am going to blow up my entire world, who's to say that what you rebuild isn't going to be a better, more healthy thing for you? I've seen it with my parents. Like, my parents stayed together till I was 18 because they wanted me to have a stable home. But the years before that were not necessarily happy years for everyone. It's a tension. It's an insidious, simmering tension that you can feel. And if you think your kids don't feel that, then you don't know your kids as well as you think you do. It doesn't matter how old you are either. You can feel when something's not right. We've had this conversation before, and it doesn't. Well, we all remember being children, going, "Oh, mum and dad are fighting. Something's wrong. The world is imploding." But they've done this really, like, conscious. I know we all balked at conscious uncoupling. Gwyneth says, we were close, though we never fully settled into being a couple. We just didn't quite fit together. There was always a bit of unease and unrest, but man, did we love our children. They tried everything to make it work for them. And then one day they just had to relent into the truth that their marriage was ending. So I think we are still in that mindset of seeing the end of a marriage as a failure, or the end of a relationship as a failure, when it's not a failure. Sometimes it's just growth.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think it's just Gwyneth Paltrow that gives me the ick, and that's why
she gives you the goop.
Well, everything that she says, it sounds like bullshit to me. Like, she could absolutely
she's not wrong. Let's be honest.
She's absolutely not wrong. And if you look at Demi Moore and Bruce Willis, that's another couple that chose to separate because they weren't good together, but they're still a family.
Right.
And they don't get as icky about it as I feel like Gwyneth Paltrow does. And I think it's just because I find her so ingenuine.
Yeah.
Or disingenuous. Whatever the correct term is going to be. I just don't.
Disingenuous.
I just do not believe her. I believe that they separated amicably. I believe they are still working together as co-parents. I believe everything is civil. I just think she's full of shit.
Well, this is what she said. At the end of the article, she says, I know my ex-husband was meant to be the father of my children. I know that my current husband is meant to be the person I'm growing old with. Conscious uncoupling let us recognize those two different loves can coexist and nourish each other, which is kind of really mature when you look at it. A really mature way of looking at the end of a relationship.
She's 100% not wrong about anything she said. I just really hate the way she said it.
If it was coming out of someone else's mouth, it'd be okay, right?
I just feel like she's just saying, like she's, I don't know, something about her. She's just trying to sound cool or something. Just say, hey, it didn't work out, but we still get along, and our kids, we love our kids. So
she's had a very privileged life.
It's obvious.
You know, she's had a very privileged life, and that doesn't mean that privilege comes without pain, but it's hard to
take her seriously, the authority on everything.
When their adversity is not visible.
Steve, that's exactly it. It feels like she's lecturing us. Like, I know the most about this. Okay, cool.
I've been
take it over there
enough to make the most enlightened decision.
Yeah, she's not enlightened. She's just her bullshit sounds
Privilege.
pretty.
It's a lot of therapy speak that is being channeled through a celebrity. And if it was a different celebrity, we would probably be a little bit more forthcoming. Go, that's really actually quite insightful. But
I think if my therapist spoke to me like she speaks to us, I'd be a little pissed too.
I would be. I love my therapist. I feel like my most important relationship is with my therapist. But if she ever spoke to me like that, I'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Be so for real."
I have another friend that reminds me very much of Gwyneth. They come from a very privileged background, but they feel like they've found the truth. Like they've been to the mountaintop, and
Oh,
it's like,
God.
you know, you were born on third base. You didn't hit a home run. You know,
Like,
It is
Gwyneth,
hard though. Like
you were selling vagina scented candles.
True.
Nothing about you is enlightened. Nothing about you is enlightened. Just shut up and move over there.
I think sometimes we are all a little bit guilty of it though, especially when you're passionate about a topic. You're like, you find yourself going, "Oh my god, I'm talking. Why am I still talking? What am I talking about? Why do I sound like a complete ass
But there's
when
a
I talk about
difference.
this?"
That's called humility. Like, we realize we sound like assholes and then we stop. She just keeps going. She's like, wow, I sound great. I'm going to keep going. They're listening. When really, we've all checked out about 5 minutes ago and it's like, oh, you're still going. Wow. What did I miss? Footnotes.
Well, let's move on. Gwyneth, as Gwyneth and Chris did, we'll move on. This was it. But I do think, yes, the more relatable kind of couple archetype is the Bruce Willis Demi Moore clan. They seem to have something really healthy and beautiful going on. Even before Bruce Willis was, ill,
Mm-hmm.
they had a very they spent COVID together.
Mhm.
Who would voluntarily spend COVID with their ex-wife and their children and their new wife and their new kids? It's like that sounds like Cheaper by the Dozen, a horror movie version. Like we're all locked down together.
it's a recipe for murder.
Listen, I
Right.
do want to give Gwyneth Paltrow some credit here. She's just taking this Coldplay situation with the cheaters, and she's just keeping it going, stepping
Yes.
up as the temporary CEO of Astronomer. Like, man,
Exactly.
you just had to insert yourself there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Chris Martin's in the spotlight. You're like, nope, I got to
As
come
Jack
in too.
said, forgiveness is better than hate. Sometimes forgiveness can
absolutely.
be hard to come to.
Oh,
though.
100%. I think I'm
we,
just,
we
Absolutely.
we aspire to forgiveness, right? We aspire.
I 100%
Yeah,
agree with
I
that.
do aspire to forgiveness.
Well, that's a very good segue into one of
Oh,
our
boy.
next stories.
Mm.
Forgiveness may be on the cards for the royal
Good.
family. Now, unless you've been living under several rocks internationally, you will know the fracas between King Charles, Prince
I
William,
would just
and
like
Prince
to
Harry.
take a second to point out in these three pictures, we have
Yes.
all heard the rumors for years and years and years that Harry is not Charles. But look at that
Yeah.
picture. They have the same eyes. They have the same nose.
Yeah.
Harry is definitely the son of.
V, I
the
got to be
king.
100% honest with you. I never heard that rumor.
Oh,
God,
really?
where
I've
have
heard
you
it for
been?
years.
Babe, I am not very involved with this royal family nonsense.
So
I
this is
no,
well,
I
this
know
is the
I have the
latest.
gist, but
the
I
latest. So
checked out a long
after
time ago.
the fracas, which we'll bring up with the next story we're going to talk about because it's all about marriage and relationships. Obviously, the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry of it all was a big divider, but also Harry's choice to publish his memoir really did a number on his relationship with his father and his brother. But latest reports are saying that Prince Harry has reportedly agreed to share his official diary with the royal family as a peace offering to William and Charles. The olive branch would help avoid schedule conflicts between Harry and Meghan's events and royal family engagements. The proposal is allegedly a way of shutting down claims that the Sussexes are trying to steal the spotlight from the British royals. And interesting, I think.
Kim, there are people dying.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. But when there is a divide this big in a family, any kind of compromise is a step forward, I think, because it was let's napalm everything on Harry's end when that book was published, and I did my due diligence and did the whole thing. I can definitely see his side of the story and understand it all. I don't understand how, as a parent and then as a grandparent, you cut off people
Right.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand. I understand his brother, sort of. You know, I think there's a lot more going on between those two than we will ever know, and sibling rivalry is a thing, no matter if you're royal or not, and it can be difficult. But any kind of small compromise is a way forward. Do we
Right.
agree
Yeah.
with relation?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's an olive branch when there didn't have to be one. Now, there hasn't been face-to-face meetings, especially with Meghan, for a very long time. When King Charles was diagnosed with cancer,
Never forget them.
Harry.
Yeah, I'm
Harry
inclined
went
to
over
agree
there.
with you. I mean,
Sorry?
I think Meghan has more reason to not forgive them, because it's not a matter of they're trying to steal the spotlight from us. They were inherently and blatantly racist to her. And
mhm.
I don't, that's something that, to me, that baby, that's not forgivable.
Yeah, look,
You
they were.
you can't change your spots.
They, thank you. I'm royalty, apparently. Thank you.
I mean, I'm gonna have to
He's
agree.
royalty in his own book too.
He's a royalty in my book. That's the only royal family I care about is Stevie.
But I think that they were willing, and this sounds bigger than it is, I guess. That inherent racism that was within the family, they were willing to let that simmer. It was the biggest thing for him was that they're refusing to keep not only him but his wife and his children safe after repeated expressions of fear that his wife or his children will end up like his mother. Obviously, that is a huge thing for him, because it's the only life he's known, and
Right.
whether you like, he could leave the royal family, or as he could leave the royal family. Whatever he does will attract attention, and they are targets for stuff like that.
I mean,
you know,
as a family, they always had the added pressure of the company or whatever the
firm.
The firm, that's what it was. Whatever the firm said, whatever the firm did, they ran the royal lives as much as, they were allowed free will. They were also run by the firm. And it seems like the firm did everything in their power to exacerbate the tension and to make Meghan feel unwelcome. And that's the racism part that,
and
she doesn't have to forgive that.
I want to address Jack's comment that you can change, but you have to want to change. These people do not want to change. That's the big difference there. Racism isn't, you aren't born a racist. You learn it. It is ingrained in you. You don't wake up one morning and I am racist.
Yeah, let's take it off the macro level. Let's take it into a micro, like more personalized thing. You have a status quo within your family, within your friendship group, within whatever. It is hard to sometimes buck those trends when someone finds a relationship that you might not necessarily agree with. That, and again, this is going to be part of the next story as well. But do you stick to your guns like the royal family is doing? Whose onus should it be to try and mediate? Because I feel like, and I've said this before, you don't stop being a parent once your child is an adult. That relationship changes, and it should be more of an equal understanding.
Right. But I do think that there's been love in that relationship. You've seen that Charles does care for his children, even though I think he did Diana dirt.
Obviously.
I don't think he doesn't care about his children. I just think he cares more about his image. That's my
I
opinion.
think that his handlers care more about his image, and I think his handlers, the firm, has driven the wedge into this family.
And it doesn't even
that's
have
my
to
take on
be.
it.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be something that big. If your family members disagree with something that you want to do, or someone you want to reach out to after there's been this kind of fracture, who do you listen to? Do you listen to your gut? Do you listen to your heart? Do you listen to the people that are telling you what to do? As an individual, I've got to go with how I feel on a situation, and it might not necessarily be the way that people around me think, but if I believe that somebody is worth trying to mend that bridge with, I'll try. But there has to be a bit of give back as well.
Right.
Like the first story, you can't just be the one that's reaching out all the time, because at a certain point you stop trying because there's no reciprocation. There's nothing that well, I've given you everything. I've given you every option. I've given you this, that, and the other. I've given everything that I'm comfortable doing. You've got to shift a little bit. You've got to shift a little bit to give me something to work with. Because a lot of hurt feelings and a lot of heartbreak and tension is just about people not being heard properly.
Well, I mean, in the royal family, I mean, this goes back to the War of the Roses. I mean, there is traditionally that court who has more sway with the monarchs and the royals than they should, and they, manufacture crises, and you've seen it throughout history. It's not just because we're in modern times doesn't mean that dynamic has gone away. And I feel like with the royals, it exacerbates all the humanity of their relationship and makes the little hurts bigger and exploits the problems for somebody else's ends.
It's definitely I feel like Harry has middle child syndrome, even though there's no younger child. And it's obvious because he is the spare.
The spare, and he talks about that in his book about
and that's why he called the book Spare. And
spare, right?
It is the book itself is very revealing as to how he sees himself in the world and as part of that structure. And just as an individual, he's obviously been through a lot of therapy, because the way that he speaks about these incidents are very clear and concise. And yes, there is emotional words to it, but it's in a textbook way. I feel like when you let emotion lead, and this is what I have to tell some of our panelists sometimes, you've got to be able to step back and take your emotion out of it and listen to what someone's trying to tell you, because they may not be able to phrase it in the best way because they're hurt, or they feel unheard, or they feel ignored. We all have different ways of defending our peace and our heart, and sometimes it's not the most gracious way, I'll say. But it takes a mature person to be able to see past that and not be offended by the delivery of it. You've got to step back and go, okay, why are you reacting this way? And I think that's what Harry is trying to get out of the situation.
Because you're stupid and your opinion is wrong.
Right, yeah.
I mean, the only royal family I've ever truly been involved with is House Stark. So I can't really get too involved.
Not really the best family, guys.
It's not, but I have always been attracted to dysfunctional families. Look where I'm at now.
You've got a dog with attachment issues.
Yeah, she's right there.
Cutie.
No, she's defending the universe.
She sends her best. She
does.
The lieutenant sends her best.
She's always on patrol for those pesky xenomorphs ready to land on Earth. She's going to be the last line of defense.
Just running through the house. Get away from her, you bitch!
Yeah, right. I live for it. Now we're going to segue to our last story, which kind of intersects with this one, because they may not be the official royals, but they are definitely a royal family.
Oh no.
There is
Okay, now I'm
continued
really out. Tap it out.
stress in the Beckham brand. So for those of us that are not of British descent or of the empire, Victoria Beckham, former Posh Spice, and David Beckham, football / soccer star, and their eldest, one of their children, Brooklyn's not the eldest, I don't think, having some fractures because of Brooklyn's marriage. So they have concerns that his billionaire heiress wife, Nicola,
You got it, Jack.
has a adverse effect on their child. The eldest Beckham boy has no communication with his family, and after his father was recently knighted and by obviously the king, it does intersect. He only learnt this through media, so there was no communication with him. Last month, this was a little while ago, Brooklyn appeared to make his feelings clear in an Instagram video shared in May, where she pledged his unwavering loyalty to Nicola, the daughter of Miami-based billionaire businessman investor Nelson Peltz. My whole world, I will love you forever. I always choose you, baby. You're the most amazing person I know, and you're forever my baby. Ooh. The estrangement was made even more public after Brooklyn failed to attend his father's 50th birthday celebrations. Now, you see this a lot. I know a lot of people that have been through this situation, whether it's wives, whether it's girlfriends, whether it's boyfriends, even friends, where the family are like, I don't know. But there's got to be, my opinion, because I will offer it. You've got to let, especially when not a child, a young man is 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need you, obviously. He's got a billionaire. He's got a billionaire wife. There's got to be a point where you let people make their own mistakes and go, this is hurting us more. Try to force this relationship and try to make you see that what you're doing is wrong is hurting them more than just letting him go, okay, at the moment, there needs to be space and there needs to be time. I get that. Katie, this is something that you're probably going to come up with. You got 2 boys. This is something you're probably going to come up across. Are you dreading the dating?
Well, I'm heading into the tween years, so I'm kind of dreading that at this point. I'm not even thinking about dating because, I mean, my oldest has said, oh, my friends have girlfriends and I'm just not even interested. And I said, that is exact right attitude to have, my friend. You are 10 years old. Let's not talk about this for another few years. Let's not do that. I'm not interested in this conversation. I would like to think that I am setting myself up to be a open and caring mother-in-law, despite who my children may bring home for me to meet. I want to think, as long as this person is a good person, I'd like to think I'm raising my kids to be good people, that we can kind of work through differences. That's what being a family is about. You work through things as long as your morals and your values are aligned.
It's
differences
part
of
becoming
opinions,
a family, right?
Yeah, differences of opinions.
It's welcoming somebody different and unknown into your little unit and trying to make them a stronger part of it. It's not about taking away or fracturing. It's about understanding a new structure, I guess.
Yeah, there's always room at the table, is what I think. As long as we are all on the, agreeance that we're not going to be awful, hateful people, we're going to always have room at the table.
Right.
Well, just to play devil's advocate here for a second, there's a very recurrent abuse dynamic where you separate someone from their support service.
Of course, yeah.
That's
so abusive.
I mean, if the family is witnessing that kind of dynamic, they have every right to be concerned. But they can't force their way into
Yeah, exactly.
their
It's
family's
like any
life. They just have to be ready to support them when and if this fails.
Right.
It's like when we talk about people with addiction issues. Like
Yeah.
you can't help somebody that doesn't
isn't ready
realize
to be
they
helped.
need help.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to
Right.
let them hit rock bottom. And I would like to think that I'm not going to be one of those helicopter parents. But I also would like to, like, I'm the mom. I'm telling you right now, this is what I see. I wish you would give me enough credit to listen to me and maybe give it some thought. I don't want to be like, I don't like this girl because she's taking you away from me. Or this boy or whatever.
Right.
I don't
You don't want to end up like Mrs. Bates. Hold on.
No. I mean, we're a Yankees household. I suppose I could let a Red Sox fan in. Might be okay.
I don't
All
know.
right, what about Auntie V though? So you have a unique periphery. You get to see how your sister interacts with her son, and all your nieces and nephews. Do you sit back and go, "Oh, this one could be trouble," when you see them dating people? How do you offer your little 2 cents, V?
Well, fortunately for me, my niece and my nephew have only had a small number of relationships at this point. Nancy's certainly old enough to make her own choices. And Matthias is absolutely old enough to make his own choices too. But, his longest relationship was in high school.
Right.
And while she was a very lovely girl, I kind of knew that wasn't going to be his forever love,
But this is the thing: you've got to let them deal with that. And when you are in those, especially your first post high school, like proper relationship that is all encompassing, the world does not exist outside, and that's we've talked about it. That's how you do lose touch with friends and stuff like that, because you give that kind of energy and time to the relationship that you're so obsessed with. You've got to make those mistakes in life. I'm not saying it's always a mistake, but you've got to go through that process to know how to act in a relationship in the real world, because it can't just be that bubble forever.
Right.
Because then toxic stuff happens. It becomes that weird codependent, we only need us kind of mentality, which can be okay if it's done healthily, but a lot of the time it isn't, and we end up with a toxic situation. And especially if you don't know that person super well, that's when we do have issues, or can have issues, with abuse / manipulation / all that kind of stuff when they are isolated in the love bubble.
Yeah.
Look at Cassie and Diddy is a great example of it. She was convinced that he loved her, and he gave those little allowances because she loved him. She was obsessed with him. She wanted to make that relationship work. And these small allowances become bigger and bigger and bigger. And it really depends on who you're giving yourself to.
Right.
I know we say, when everything's legal and consenting, age is a number, but is it really, like, where do we draw the line with that? Because honestly, there was such a huge age gap there. There was a power difference there.
It's definitely coercive control. It's getting to that point where they are dependent / obsessed with you, and then you exploit that. It's exploitative. That's not love.
I'm just curious where we draw the line here, because it's a power struggle.
Well, I do know plenty of people who are in an age gap relationship who navigate just fine.
Yeah.
I
think you've got to have a strong sense of self.
Yeah.
I think
because
she was she was still a teenager, right? Like she was just barely 18 when this all started.
Yeah.
I think there's
well, that's way more exploitive then
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
that's
I think there's a
exploitative.
difference here between like a 40-year-old and a 60-year-old versus an
Right.
18-year-old and a 40-year-old.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're not legally of age, that's an issue.
well, that's always
Well,
the issue,
there's
but she
also-
was of age.
You know, the prefrontal cortex doesn't finish developing until your early 20s.
I feel like mine still
that's
hasn't
why
fully
you're-
developed. This is the point I'm trying to make here.
But that's why you make those young, dumb mistakes, right? That's
That
why
is.
you have your
That's
20s
why you send
to
young people off to war.
they're not. They're stupid enough to
They
risk
have no
themselves
concept
for.
of death yet.
Some of
Yeah.
y'all just deserve the draft that you're itching for, honestly. And I'm going to regret saying that, so I take it back already.
Well, it's already out there, Katie. You remember Uncensored Radio? It's out there
I
forever
retract
now.
my statement. I apologize.
You can't. It's too late. It's too late.
I'm terribly sorry.
Thank you, Matt.
Look,
Yeah,
more genuine than some apologies I've heard from the media. But it is a very difficult situation because these parents obviously want only the best for their child. I think you've got to have faith that you've done your job enough that your child will choose the right person or learn that that person is not the right person.
And you also have to be supportive enough so that your child, should this all blow up in their face, they know they have a safe space with their family.
Right.
That's
There's nothing more
You
important
don't
than
want
that.
to make a hostile environment where Brooklyn, just because that's the family we're talking about, doesn't feel like if his marriage goes south, he can show up at mom and dad's house.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's honestly what I was just about to say. It was I don't know if he feels safe enough to come home now.
Right.
If it does blow up. I mean, I know, if everything blew up in my face, I could go crawl into Libby's basement tomorrow. But like,
But I think that's the biggest gift your family can give you is
Right.
to be that soft place to land. I know that when I was there's been various points in my life where I've been doing that, out on your own thing, fully independent, doing the thing. Something happens, and you just need to know that that's an option. When somebody goes, if you're not happy, you can come home. It's not a failure. It's not something that people are going to judge you for. The people that really care about you just want you to be happy and healthy. So no matter, I think that that's probably the best message, as opposed to fighting about the relationship and the context and the dynamic in the relationship. People just need to stress that you can do whatever you want. If there ever is a time where you need somewhere to be where you're safe and you're cared for, the door's open.
Can I ask a question? Is there like a solid reason that Vicky doesn't like Nikki?
I feel like they feel like she's isolating him away from them, and that because he took her last name as well. He's Beckham Peltz.
Oh, God forbid feminism, right?
So it's questionable.
Again, I'm sorry. My mouth got away with me, and I'm terribly sorry.
You never know what the button is for some people, but I think that it could just be hurt feelings that
I'm just
manifest
curious
in
if
bigger ways.
she did something that makes them think she's isolating them, or are they just, well, God forbid he has another woman in his life, and that's it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say something similar to that. It's like,
and it can be. I've definitely seen parents like that too that can't let that go. Like my child is.
I've seen those senior photos of the football moms piling on their kid. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. Is Victoria one of those moms that are holding her her child in a senior photo like that's her boyfriend, or is there something actually going on?
Yeah,
I'm not a huge Beckham fan. I kind of follow them, but is it really that absurd to think that Victoria would have trouble letting go?
No.
I mean,
given her the previous incidences in her marriage, etc.
Yeah.
No, I would not believe.
No.
I would believe that
Um,
clinging close to people is a defense mechanism for her too.
right.
Listen,
the
I was
fact
never
that
a posh spice gal. I was always
he
team
is
ginger, but
choosing to
anyways.
step away and choose somebody else
Right.
could be
And
seen as a threat to her.
did he just marry his mother?
Oh,
Are
Jesus
you-
Who
Christ.
knows?
You
Who
know,
knows? And that's
Are
sometimes the biggest
Mickey and
problem.
Vicky too closely alike?
Well, yeah,
You know,
she's
like I said, I'm not a
how
Beckham
often do you
follower.
see that though?
I'm just throwing this
She's
stuff out.
manipulating you
No,
just
that's-
because you're not getting the chance to manipulate your child anymore.
That's
It's
Right.
like,
It's
You know,
possible.
It's almost a privilege to just have a relatively healthy family dynamic, to still be in touch with your family, to still
Definitely.
be close to your family. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't have that anymore. And I realize I am one of those people with that privilege, but I gotta say, something about this just feels sketchy, I guess.
I know, but I think what you're saying is true. And I think as everyone in this situation is an adult,
Mhm.
there's got to be breathing room. I don't understand these families who are in each other's lives like every day. Like I couldn't do
Kardashians.
it. There's
Me
too
and Dia.
much. Like no, but there's
Okay,
a
so you
difference.
and Dia are the Auburn Kardashians. I get it.
No, but there is obviously a difference because that's just that's the
Is that what you're
choices that
saying?
you've made. You're not going, oh my god, I have a problem with this person, but we're still forcing ourselves into each other's lives because that's what we should do because we're family. We're gonna make this happen. And no one's happy in those situations. They're all bitching about each other. They're all upset. It's tangible when you're in the room together.
Mhm.
Just allow some. If you can't get along, then that means there probably needs to be a little bit of breathing space
Right.
put in there anyway, because everyone deserves the chance to step out and make their own decisions and make their own mistakes and live a life that isn't so. It's not like a cult. Family
I thought you were
shouldn't
gonna
feel
give
like
us a wicked moment there for a second.
Well, I was going to say that sounds like a really interesting new season of the Kardashians. I guess I'm going to watch now.
family, but family for me, family shouldn't and isn't an obligation. It is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm an adult. My siblings are adults. Their children are now all adults too. So when and if we choose to spend time together, and the energy that we invest into our relationships is dependent on us and how we feel. And I'm not going to deny that sometimes there are strain there. There are times when we have been incredibly close, and there are times when I do not speak to my siblings for months on end. But it doesn't mean that there's a fracture. It just is the ebb and flow of life as an adult.
Right.
I mean, I'm currently watching my family fall apart. Can't get too much into detail. There are legal proceedings going on, and I'm actually not joking about this. But it's strange because the energy is different because I'm an adult now. So I understand
Right.
what these people around me are actually saying about
Yep.
me to me versus them saying this around a little girl.
Right.
And
Yep.
it's these people I've never been close with ever. And I can choose whether I want to continue that relationship or not. Granted, I'm
100.
not going to, but I have always had the choice of whether I want to interact with these people. And it's strange how some things, smallest thing, the very, very smallest thing, will tear a whole family apart. It's just that dynamic was never right. And now it's really not right. And it can never be repaired.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be. That's the most important thing.
I'm not.
If it's not
losing
healthy,
sleep over
it's
it.
not right.
Yeah.
It's
you're
okay
not
for things to fall apart.
You're
Not
not
losing sleep over
obligated
this
to
one.
be their friends just because you
Yeah.
were born in the same family.
Right.
That blood doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
If life has taught us
Sorry,
anything,
Vicky.
you get to choose. You get to choose who you want to invest your time, your energy,
Right.
your heart into, and I think that's probably a really good way to end the show today. Actually,
I know, right?
when it comes down to it, it's all about understanding and putting yourself first in a healthy way.
Yeah.
I feel like this has been a very good therapy session, ladies.
Our
We've
guru
helped some
Steve.
people. We've created a little bit of conversation out there anyway. Thank you for joining us around the round table. We will be back again at some point with more hot topics to discuss. Thank you, the ever horrific Katie McCarthy. And the always vivacious
Forgetting someone.
Mira. And
Aww.
support to the lieutenant. Thank you for joining us on the round table today, folks. We'll see you on Thursday/Friday for UCR Live. Stay healthy, folks. Make good choices and spread love. Bye.